Hello, everyone. My name is Micah. I'm the community manager for the ScoreMachine and also M2 FICO Forge. And this is Dre.
How you
Dre,
doing? How
you
you
want to
doing?
introduce yourself? Yeah. How you
Hey, how
doing?
you doing, everybody? My name is Dre, the Dimer. I'm also
Mm,
I'm part owner of the M2 FICO Forge and also the Smart Hustlers Club as well.
mm. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Well, what's a Smart Hustlers Club?
Smart Hustlers Club, that's where we actually teach people how to fix their own credit themselves. 'Cause a lot of people out here are saying, "Oh, I can do it, I can do it for you," but a lot of people don't even know how to read a report. The other half can't
Mm,
even tell you what a fundable report looks like. So we're
yep.
actually giving you guys back the information you need, so you can stop trying to put your trust in somebody else to hopefully do it, and now you
Hmm.
can do it yourself.
Sick. It's awesome. Power in the people.
There you go.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you some questions, and yeah, let's have a good time.
Let's do it.
What's the first thing you should do when starting the credit repair process?
Ooh, well, first things first. A lot of people come to me. All right, Dre, I need to fix my report. Okay. Do you have your report? No. Hmm. So the first
Mm,
step, guys, is to go pull your report. Again, we don't know what's on your report if we can't look at it. And we don't go to sites like Credit Karma, look at the accuracy because Credit Karma is not going to tell you the true accuracy of your report.
mm,
We can go to the different sites, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. We can go to those sites, but we have other sites, credit monitoring sites that we prefer. Why? Yes, Experian gonna give you your FICO score, but it's not gonna give you a detailed breakdown version of your report to tell you how that account is reporting to give you the details you need to remove the item.
hmm. It's good. So how often should you check your credit report, and what are the most common mistakes people make when reviewing it?
I check mine bi-weekly. Especially if you're doing some type of any big transactions or something like that, track it bi-weekly. Now, if and also if you had any type of identity theft issues, I would either put a identity freeze or freeze your reports so that doesn't happen. But realistically, once a month will be safe to
Hmm.
check your report once a month.
Awesome. Um, are some sites better than others?
Yeah. So we have a site called My Free Score Now.
Hmm.
Again, this site it gives you a breakdown version of each account on your report. Again, you can go to Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. They're going to pull your direct report from the bureaus, but again, they're not going to show you each account in a detailed version. Which
Mm,
again, we need to know that how it's reporting the dates. Is everything accurate? You're not going to be
hmm.
able to see that on a on a Experian or definitely a Credit Karma.
Yeah, awesome. So why is it important to request your credit report from all three bureaus, and what differences should you be looking for?
Great question. So it's very imperative that you pull all three. Why? Because again, especially if you're looking for negative items to be removed, one thing is everything needs to be accurate across the board. So if I'm just looking at Experian, I don't know if it's correct on all
Mm,
bureaus. So that means I have to pull all three bureaus. Now, a lot of
mm,
times you can start looking at your personal information. That's one key factor to say, yeah, I can get some stuff removed. Why? If they have this one last name attached to 10 different accounts, and that's not my last name. So if I remove that
mm,
last name, start disputing those accounts, I'm gonna have a likely chance of that stuff coming off. Why? Because they cannot verify the information. They can't verify the name. They can't verify the address. So that's the first thing after you pull your report. Start looking at your personal information.
awesome. So once you get the report, how do you identify inaccuracies or outdated information?
Got you. So you go line by line by line. You can either you can come into the team, ask one of us, or you can just go by line, and look at all three again. That's why we like having My Free Score Now because it'll pull all three bureaus at once, and you
Hmm.
can line them up instead of having to go through Experian, then to another site, TransUnion, another site, Equifax. Everything's on one screen and you can look
Hmm.
line by line by line. Now, stuff like the date open, a lot of times that's going to be inaccurate. Somebody might say that it was closed January 1st, 2025. TransUnion says that. but then Equifax and Experian, they're blank. Okay.
Hmm.
We go down to account status. Everybody says it's closed. Well, how can Experian and Equifax tell me it's closed if they can't tell me what day it was closed on? That doesn't make
Mm.
sense, which is
Yep.
an inaccuracy.
Yep. Awesome. So what steps do you need to take to dispute an error on your credit report, and how long does the process take?
So the steps you need to take is going first off, knowing the laws. So
Hmm.
again, join the community and starting to learn these laws because if you a consumer that doesn't know their laws is protected by no laws. So
Hmm.
again, if you don't know your laws, you're not protected by them. So that's the
Hmm.
first thing. Go learn your laws. So then when we're looking at our report, it's not just gibberish. This stuff starts to make sense because you know what the law says is, oh, this stuff needs to be accurate using 15 USC 1681. E is an elephant, B is in boy. You can use that one for accuracy across the board for collections. But again, if you
Hmm.
don't know that that law exists, when you see this stuff, you're not going to know, oh, that's a violation.
Hmm. So how can tools like the score machine help automate the process of finding and disputing errors on your credit report?
Beautiful. So it takes all the guesswork out. A lot of us, even me, I've had mistakes where I've overlooked something. With the score machine, it breaks down everything and it puts it right in a centralized area. So there's no guessing on if they have collections, late payments, and it tells you in each bureau where's the issue. So oh well, they have late payments. Where? On their
Hmm.
TransUnion, on the Equifax, that matters. Because different bureaus have different tactics.
Yep.
So that's another key reason why. Also, a lot of times when you're looking at Experian, or if you're looking at Credit Karma, or if you're looking at My Free Score now, it's not going to tell you right there what their credit utilization is. Something
Hmm.
was key is with your credit utilization is one of the second factors to your credit breakdown. So knowing right off the bat that yes, this client has collections and we need to have a method handy because we need to knock down that credit utilization. That's very, very good when you're doing a consultation.
Hmm. It's good. So what's the best approach when negotiating with creditors to remove negative marks from your credit report?
Beautiful. So there's something called a pay to delete. So again, we
Hmm.
don't want to. If you just want to try to get something removed off your report with a creditor, and you're trying to communicate with them, we can try to do a pay to delete. That's not our first go to method, but again, that is a method. If you're in
Yep.
position to pay that collection, but we have to do it the proper way. We need to
Hmm.
send them a message, a email asking them, can you, if we pay this alleged debt, we never want to own up to, yes, if I pay my AT&T account, will you remove? No. You just told them that's your debt, so pay your debt.
Mm,
But
yep.
if we tell them, if I pay this alleged debt, is not mine, you guys just want money, correct? Correct. So if
Hmm.
I pay this alleged debt, will you agree to completely remove this from my credit report? Once removed, you are not able to resell this to another third party company. Why?
Mm.
I'm just telling you what I've seen, what my partner has seen. We've seen people, they do this. LV&V will take it off somebody's report, sell it to Midland. Midland puts it back on the report. Makes sense. So that's a way if you're
Mm.
trying to get in
Yep.
contact with the lender, trying to get it removed, we're going to go ahead and ask them to do a pay to delete, but we got to do it the proper way and asking them to, if we pay this alleged debt, will they agree to completely remove this from our report? And they are not able to resell this to another third party company.
Perfect. What is a goodwill adjustment, and how can it help remove negative marks from your credit?
Beautiful. So something that is similar to a pay to delete. A
Hmm.
goodwill adjustment is basically what's more so referring to a late payment. Just send a letter again to the lender, or in this situation, some people like to send this letter to the CEO of the company, basically asking them, I fell on some hardship. Just giving them the whole spill. You fell on hardship and this, that, and the third, but you just climb back out that hole and you're able to pay now. So
Hmm.
if you can, if we'll pay this late payment off, will you do a goodwill adjustment and adjust that late payment to current?
Hmm.
That's basically what that is.
So are there risks involved with pay for delete?
Yes. There can be if you are if you prematurely pay that off before getting respondings back from them. Because sometimes some lenders will say, yeah, no, we're not gonna do that. Like we're not gonna,
Hmm.
if you pay that, we're not gonna remove it because that's your debt. So if you
Hmm.
prematurely paid it off, thinking that, oh yeah,
Hmm.
of course they're gonna agree with that. No, that's not
Hmm.
true. So I recommend everybody making sure they get this in writing that yes, they will agree to remove this because again, nine times out of 10, if you try to do this over a phone, that's not going to hold up in any type of court.
Yep. But if you have the email from them, that's gonna hold up.
Yes, yes, because again, you're going to email them, and when they say yes, we're going to do this, beautiful. Just make sure is this coming from a supervisor, not some little deskie.
Okay.
Or is this coming from a supervisor? Yes, okay. Thank you so much. Now we have that in writing, saying like we just our whole little script. If I pay this alleged debt, nowhere in this did I say if I pay my debt. I did not
Yep.
say that.
It's good. So how important is it to keep records of all negotiations with creditors during the credit repair process?
Extremely important. A lot of times people lot don't know that the one and true way to get something removed for sure is to go ahead and sue. But
Mm,
we can't just sue off the bat. We need to set them up, which means
yep.
we need to send in disputes, and then they have to verify it, do investigations. But we know when we send off our disputes and they reply in like 2 days, 3 days, there's no way that you got my letter and then did a proper investigation and then wrote me back within two that there's no way. So we know that they're not doing proper investigations. So
Hmm.
when we go a couple rounds and we're not getting the results that we want, we can take those documentations that we got from them and now bring that to court saying that yes, now in the judge's face, please show us documentation on how you really did verify this information and how you did do investigations. When they're coming back that quickly, they don't have the documentation, which means they're probably 9 times out of 10 will not show up to court, or they'll just settle before they even have to go to court.
Yep. It's good. So it's only after a couple of rounds you should decide to sue, or it depends.
Yeah, because again, you don't want to sue in the beginning because you don't
Hmm.
have a leg to stand on. You haven't really caught them in lying or
Hmm.
doing falsified or saying we're doing investigations, but not really doing investigations
Yep.
because you just started. But if you do a couple rounds, now you have that evidence of them saying we did investigations, but they never did.
Yeah. It's good. What are the most important things to focus on when rebuilding credit after disputing inaccurate marks?
Beautiful. So your credit age is a really big thing. Credit age, credit mix, and then your limits. Those things are when you're rebuilding, we already took care of, we have 100% credit payment history, so we don't have to focus on that because we built that. So now it's just the fact of we need to have accounts, 7 to 10 primary accounts. We need to have those credit limits. A lot of people start adding in getting all these new accounts and they forget that that drops their credit age. So a lot of people don't realize that they can go get something called credit or rent reporters, meaning rent reporters, Credit Karma, and rental karma. I'm sorry, rental
Mm,
karma, and Credit Sesame.
mm,
Those will actually backdate your rent up to 10 years, which will
yeah.
give you that credit history, that on time payment, which we need.
Hmm. It's good. What's the best way to maintain low credit utilization without closing credit cards, and why is it so crucial for your credit score?
So, how to mitigate or how to limit your credit utilization? Well, I my thing is I pay off my cards every Sunday.
Mm,
Why? Because I never want to go off do 2 weeks of just spending, and not paying
yep.
down, paying down. So
Hmm.
that's my thing of limiting how much credit utilization I'm going to be using at the end of the month. Because again, every Sunday I'm knocking that down, knocking that down. So at the end of the month, I've already paid, and again, that goes for your payments as well. If you're making so many payments, that looks very well because you're knocking it down, knocking it down.
Hmm.
So how I again that's how I do it is I make sure I make some payments every Sunday so that at the end of the month I'm not sitting there with an outrageous bill.
Yep. It's good. Can using a secured credit card really help rebuild credit? And what should users be careful of when doing so?
Yes. A lot of times, a lot of banks, if you haven't had any relationships with certain banks, and you want to go establish some relationships, what you can do is do a secured credit, and then you can actually put your money up. A lot of times, they won't give you an unsecured credit card because, again, you're not trustworthy. You haven't built a track record yet.
Hmm.
So, if you come in with your money up front, Now they're like, okay, we'll trust you with that. A good thing is when you start focusing on certain banks that you know that are going to graduate, those are the best cards to go get when you're trying to build relationships and trying to build your credit, because you can do something called that secure credit card, put your money up. Now once you do right by them 6 months a year, now it graduates to an unsecured line of credit, and now it's all, you're not having to, they give you your money back, or they'll extend you extra credit line or limit, but
Hmm.
now it's either you get that money back or you have a larger limit, and now it's
Yep.
unsecured.
Okay. Um, so what's the difference between a secured and unsecured credit card?
Gotcha. So, secure credit cards, you're coming up with your money. You have to come some
Hmm.
type of collateral.
Okay.
9 times out of 10, you have to put some money up. So a lot of those cards start with a $200 secure credit card. You have to put that 200, that 300, that 500. You have to put that
Hmm.
up.
Yep.
I tell people we don't. I don't recommend doing low limit ones unless it is one that you can graduate with. But it's
Hmm.
still with that. I really don't like limit secure credit cards underneath $2,000 to $3,000. Why? That's going. It's a new credit account, so it's going to lower your credit age. And a $500 credit limit is not going to do anything for your comparable credits when it comes to getting funding. But a
Yep.
25 to a $3,000 credit card, secure credit card, that will do something for
Hmm.
your comparable credit.
Yep. It's good. How can setting up automatic payments help avoid missed payments and improve your credit score over time?
Beautiful. So I have everything on auto pay, autopilot, auto pay. Um, Again, we are all busy people, especially if you have a job, if you have a
Hmm.
family. We're all in the hustle bustle. We're all busy people. So a lot of times, though, if you have different payment dates, that stuff can get. Oh, what was it? The third or the second? What was this one? The second or the third? Was it the fourth or the ninth? So now you missed that payment, which again, every late payment can potentially drop you 100 over 100 points.
Hmm.
So having those on-time payments will make sure that your score doesn't drop and it always increases. And having your all your bills on auto pay will make sure that you don't accidentally miss a payment and then your score drops 100 plus points.
Awesome. How long does it take, you typically take to see improvements in your credit score after you start following a credit repair strategy?
Got you. So it depends on what strategy you're using, and it depends on what account you're disputing. I've seen people in my mentorship, they've got collections removed in a couple hours. And then I've seen somebody else get some collections removed in a couple months. So it
Hmm.
all depends on what account you're using, on what account you're disputing, and it depends on what method you're using. But if you want to go for a just typical, again, that's very hard to say, but for the typical, we can say between like 3 to 4 months to see something moving. And again, that's on your typical method. Inside of our community, we have faster methods. We have better methods that have quicker response time.
Yep. Awesome. How can tracking your progress with tools like the Score Machine help you stay on top of your credit repair journey?
So, the tools like the ScoreMachine will help you out so much because again, it's going to have everything in a centralized area.
Hmm.
Also, it's a no brainer. It takes the guesswork out of it. I know a lot of people who might be watching this might say, you know what, this is my first time. I haven't really learned about credit. Everybody knows that credit repair wasn't taught in school, so this
Hmm.
stuff can get confusing. So again, when you have a software that takes all the guesswork out, it makes everything else a no-brainer. It makes you just either closing deals with clients or just learning more tactics to fix your credit a lot easier, because again,
Hmm.
it's not the headache of trying to read the report or what's going on with the report. That's eliminated because of the score machine.
Awesome. So what are some common mistakes people make when trying to repair their credit, and how can they be avoided?
Common mistakes are not starting with your personal information. A lot of people just start the gusto. Let me start removing these collections, these inquiries, these collections. I mean, these charge offs, all this stuff. Again, if you have 10 different last names, 10 different addresses, and when you try to dispute something, it's not hard to verify anything about you. So a
Hmm.
lot of times when people say, I want to start my credit repair journey, and they just start the gusto at, let me get these methods, and I ask them, did you start with your personal information? A lot of people overthink, well, Dre, that's not a big deal. It is a big deal because again, if I can close my eyes and throw a dart and hit something about you, it's not hard to verify anything about you. So that will be the first step. A lot of people overlook is cleaning up their personal information to give them a best chance to get everything else removed.
Awesome. What's the difference between repairing your credit and improving your fundability, and how do they relate to one another?
So repairing your credit will be removing the negatives. Late payments
Hmm.
charge off the negatives. The rebuilding is we're getting accounts. Do we have any pledge loans, secure loans, stuff like that? Do we have any credit cards? Do we have stuff like that? So that's the rebuilding phase. Do you have enough accounts on your report? Do you have the age? Do you have the limits? That is the rebuilding part. But again, we can't rebuild before we can't rebuild before we repair.
Hmm. So
Make
you don't
sense?
suggest starting them both at the same time?
You can. I recommend people to start with, if I have 10 negative items, I'm going to
Hmm.
start knocking off majority of those before I start. When I have 5 negatives left, then I'll start adding some credit builder accounts. Again, you can do anything with a strategy and a plan. So
Yep.
my biggest thing is, why would you add on credit builder accounts and all this stuff, monthly fees, when you're first starting your report? If it takes you 9 months, well, now you're paying 9 months for credit builder accounts that you did not need to pay for,
Hmm.
when you could have waited 4 months in, 5 months in, then started those credit builder accounts. Now you're only paying for those credit builder accounts for 4 months.
Hmm. It's
Make
good.
sense?
Yeah. How can understanding credit and finances in the long term help you avoid the need for credit repair in the future?
Can you say that again?
How can understanding credit and finances in the long term help you avoid the need for credit repair in the future?
So if you understand how your credit report is before you actually need it, a lot of people come to me when they actually need credit repair.
Mm.
Um, 1 second, you got to ask this question again. Hold on, I'm sorry.
You want me to say it again? Oh, can't hear you. There you go.
My
You want me to
bad.
say the question again?
Yeah.
Okay, so how can understanding credit and finances in the long term help you avoid the need for credit repair in the future?
So when you understand that, it's so easy to mess your credit up. It is
Hmm.
so easy to mess your credit up. Once it's messed up, it takes a longer time to fix it. So if you know that when you become an adult, and then you're trying to go get a house, you're gonna need your credit. When you become
Hmm.
an adult and you go get a car, you're gonna need your credit. So again, if we know certain factors that's gonna mess our credit up before that happens, then we can start putting more emphasis on, you know what, I don't want to get a late payment. So like we talked about, let me make sure I put my bills on auto pay. Let
Hmm.
me make sure that if I have any personal information that's messed up, let me, every time that I move, let me go update that. Why? Because again, when I start needing my credit, I don't want to start having to remove this stuff before I can go get funding.
Good. I got one more question.
Beautiful.
So, how does consistent monitoring and maintaining good credit habits post credit repair help build a healthy financial future?
I'm sorry, you froze up on that one.
Oh, sorry. How does consistent monitoring and maintaining good credit habits post credit repair help build a financial future or healthy financial future?
Got you. So if you're constantly monitoring your credit, which again I recommend everybody do, you'll automatically, it won't, oh, it was 3 months later and then I didn't notice my credit was going through the tank,
Mm-hmm.
because again, you weren't monitoring your report. So I recommend everybody, if you don't have your credit freezes set, go do that. A lot of people don't want to do that. I don't want to misplace certain things. Okay, well, I recommend everybody to monitor your report at least once a month. My rule of thumb, I do it once every 2 weeks. I just look at it, make sure everything's on the up and up. Why?
Mm-hmm.
This day and age with this everything digital and all this stuff, It's scary. It can get scary. One swipe, you can walk past somebody, they scan your phone, get all your information, start applying for stuff. So again, if you've never had a identity theft scare, I don't want to turn anybody into a conspiracy theorist or whatever, but I would recommend you to just go ahead and freeze your report. If not, make sure you're monitoring at least once every other week.
Perfect. Well, I want to thank everybody. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Do you have any final words?
Just again, I love coming on platforms like this again because this stuff was not taught to us in school. So stay locked in so you don't get locked out. I know we're already more than halfway through the year. Everybody has those new year, new me. But make sure if you want a new life, new different things that come out of your life, the outcomes need to change. If you want a different outcome, the inputs need to change. We can't keep doing the same thing, same thing. We can't be watching the same thing, same thing. Because if you're inputting the same information that you put into yourself last year, you're gonna get the same outputs. So if you want a different outcome, the inputs have to change.
Awesome. Wise words.
Thank you, thank you, thank
Perfect.
you.
See you guys later, and thanks for joining.
All right, talk to you guys later.